Welcome, everybody, and welcome back to episode 8 now of The Void Experience. We have a very special guest today, Lukas Ablingis, a.k.a. LTA.
What's up? Thank you for having me.
What's up, Lucas?
Big fan of the
What's
show.
up, man?
He is a musician, and he just released some music on Spotify and other different platforms to listen to music to, but also a good friend and dear friend of ours that we want to invite and hang out with for a bit on our podcast. So.
Nice to talk to you guys again. Been a while.
Yeah.
What have you been up to recently, Lucas?
Nothing much. Just been busy releasing the album. So after that was all over, I was kind of gauging all the feedback and everything like that, seeing what I need to improve on and everything. But since I'm out of a job right now, I've been able to spend a lot more time kind of being more productive with my music and taking a lot of classes about mixing and mastering so I can just further improve myself. I'm already probably getting 10 times better at producing than I was when this album came out. So it's just all about making progress and getting better at the craft.
It kind of seems that like when we have a lot of free time, we turn to creativity. You know, it's like ourselves. We started the podcast.
We're doing this.
Yeah, you know, it's and hopefully that could be a silver lining that comes from all of this. Not to deviate too much, but
yeah, it's what we need right now. We need a little bit of color in our life. Everybody's just sitting at home doing nothing, staring at the same white walls every day. So
hell yeah,
music and artistry comes from right now.
Very inspiring.
To give you a quick plug right now, the name of the album is New World. It was released 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago now.
Yeah, April 17th, I think.
Yeah.
A week ago.
Go and give it a listen. We'll have the link in the description below. Awesome music. I've been listening to it all day today.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
It's great to have just like on playing in the background, great vibe music and everything like that. It's Lucas playing. I believe that's your guitar in the background, but I could be mistaken.
Is that your Gibson? You recorded with the Gibson?
Yeah, use the Gibson Les Paul that I have.
I can tell.
I go record the keys, and I wrote the drums, and I had a longtime family friend actually record the drums. He's just a beast on the kit, so we got him in the studio, and couldn't have asked for a better drummer. He just killed it. And
Awesome.
I didn't write the lyrics, not very good with words. That's why I stick to instrumentation. So we had Brooke Rose, a friend from home in Santa Barbara who has some experience in music. I hit her up, and she was very down to do the project with me, and she absolutely killed it with the lyrics. She got the message across. I just kind of let her know what the songs are about, and she wrote the lyrics. So it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, man. I mean, just it's well put together. Like a little bit of background. Like I grew up playing guitar. I don't really play much anymore. I don't really practice it, but I've jammed a few times with Lucas. So I mean, I kind of know what is what. And we both like classic rock. Like that's what I kind of learned. So I kind of see elements of that in your music. But yeah, when I listened to it, it was a little bit unexpected in terms of like parts of it, but also I could tell like the influences came through. Like I get the classic rock feel, but I'm also getting like, if I'm wrong, like ska type of feel a little bit, maybe. Yeah. And then kind of just like some psychedelic a little bit in there too.
Yeah. Kind of my main focus. I try to stay psychedelic. A big influence from Kevin Parker from Kevin Paul. I kind of try to model myself after him. I just really like the whole trippy vibe. I think that's going back to what we said, adding some color to life. I think that's what psychedelia brings us. So.
Yeah. In particular, I like the opening riff of Lost Under the Sun. Is that? Yeah. That's kind of
my personal favorite on the album, actually.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I really dig. I'm not sure if this is purposeful, but the sounds very kind of like a live music kind of sound. Yeah, it's like you sound very much like you're in. I feel like I'm at Outside Lands, you know, just listen to you kind of just play out there with like the fog coming through, you know. It's
that's how the producing comes along. Basically, is you got to try to catch a vibe, try to kind of paint the picture of where I am, and basically by adding all the spacey stuff to it, like reverb, everything that just makes it sound like it's in a big room. That's kind of my intention in terms of how I put it together.
Dude, like SpaceX yesterday, man, mission accomplished. That was very well done.
Thank you.
Was this like your first album that was out, or have you done something in the past?
Yeah, first album on the professional airwaves. Wanted to stay patient and actually make sure I'm ready to release something that's worthy of being on these airwaves on Spotify and everything. I have hundreds of other songs that I've written in the past that just weren't good enough for that. So it's all about being real with myself and understanding that it's not ready yet.
Yeah, no, definitely honing your craft goes a long way.
How did you get started, Lukas? Like I'm a believer of like 10,000 hours, and obviously we can hear that you know what you're doing. You're not just.
Yeah, I'm a huge believer in that too. Love that story about the Beatles spending 10,000 hours just playing concerts in Germany before they even became the Beatles. That's how music is.
Is that like a required?
I didn't even know that. I don't know. I just know like 10,000 hours of doing something like makes you an expert or a master.
Mastery,
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's that's what I tell all my friends that are trying to learn new instruments. They're like, well, how'd you get to this point? I always tell them it's just time. That's all it is. You got to spend enough time and do enough repetitions to make it happen. That's really all it is. And you got to have that motivation to do it. So, I mean, I got started. My dad's a big influence in terms of he raised me on incredible music, as you guys know, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd, all that stuff. And forever thankful for that. Started playing Guitar Hero in like 7th grade, got really good at it, spent a lot of time on it, and then I realized I'd be spending all this time playing real
Dragon Force on expert.
Video games, man. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Bark at the Moon, dude. That one. That was the shit.
So, took lessons for about a year, 7th, 8th grade, something like that. And after that, I was motivated enough to not have to get dragged to a musical lesson. I already knew what I wanted to do, the songs I wanted to learn. Then I started recording music about end of senior year of high school, or writing my own music actually. And then in college, I started actually recording. And then, like I said, just staying patient. Took me 5 years to actually be okay with releasing some of my music on professional airwaves.
I mean, I think we went to school. We went to school with Lukas in Long Beach. I think that was 6, 7 years ago, 2012.
They rushed. I was the pledge edge that semester, 2014.
2014. Yeah. And I remember you back then also like, playing and like really beginning to kind of like, I don't know. I didn't know you prior to that, but truly like really embracing like your music, it's like.
Yeah. I made sure to be like that. Going to college, seeing everybody's music taste, especially here in Long Beach, it's not as diverse as anywhere else. Long Beach is a big rap scene, thanks to Snoop Dogg and everything like that. I don't blame them or anything, but I want to stay true to my music, classic rock and everything. So I always embraced my guitar. Yeah.
But where would you go though? Like school? Like if you wanted to go, like Nashville, like, come on.
No, like Santa Cruz. You see Santa Cruz or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The music scene is different, but everything else about Long Beach is perfect.
Yeah.
It's diversity. Yeah, perfect. Everything's perfect. Yeah.
I'm not going to put somewhere just because of these guys. I'm going to stay true to my music so I can go wherever I want.
No, that's good.
Yeah, you don't set up a tent in the middle of the ocean, bro. Like, you don't go backpacking and fucking.
So I don't think we asked you though, but who's all the people in your band, or just kind of naming them out, I guess.
So it's just 3 people. Me, Brooke Wallace on the vocals, and she wrote the lyrics. And then we got my buddy Andrew, a longtime family friend who was on the drums. I kind of wrote out how I wanted the drums to be in the songs, and he was the one able to perform it.
Okay.
And like I believe I mentioned before, I'm not good with words, so I don't write lyrics. I don't really know how to fucking put out my message other than instrumentation. So I had Brooke Wallace write the lyrics, and she played it.
So for that creative process, like, did she already have the lyrics to the song? Did she have previously written those lyrics, or did you kind of guys come together and based off of like your instrumental, she kind of wrote the lyrics? How did that work?
So I sent her my instrumentals. They're basically how they're released right now, actually, without the vocals. That's how I had them structured already. I sent her the music. She lives in Santa Barbara, so I couldn't be face-to-face with her, so I sent her via text or whatever, and I sent her a Google Doc saying, this is what the songs are about. This is where the inspiration came from for each song. And every song has a feeling. Like I said, I can't write lyrics, so I have to express my feelings through the instrumentation. So that's why I have a general idea of each song, a general theme, and she wrote lyrics according to those themes, and that's how it happened.
She named the songs too?
I named the songs.
Oh, what's the process on that? Like, what's the...
That's so cool, man.
It's just whatever really comes to mind. It's when I write, like, kind of usually starts out with a guitar riff or something like that, and when I get on that guitar that night or whatever, I already have something on my mind, and I kind of let my fingers do the work.
Do you write the name of the song prior to starting the inspiration for the music, or after listening to the full song?
After listening to it, I kind of get a gist of what phrase works well with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
You vibe that on your own music, essentially. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole process of just kind of all the workhorses in the music industry. They could tell you that, just like myself, every single night. I started doing this project in June, and every single night I listened to it 5 or 6 times all the way through. So I've listened to it probably over 2,000 times now. So
did you have like multiple, like what I'm thinking of right now is like a hip hop, like a producer has beats and he sends like same thing with your situation, like you're not able to work together in person. So do you have a collection and then she picked the ones that she liked?
No, I just sent her.
You just sent them and she made them. Damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
What that kind of reminds me of is if you're familiar with the hip hop group Gangstar, the DJ Premier, the guy that made the beats, he made the beats and he would name the beat already. Like the beat would have an idea or a feel, and then Guru the rapper would write the lyrics based off. So they had a formula they used.
Yeah. So
that's what that reminds me of.
That
guy's also the most lyrically talented person of all time. Like,
yeah, and like the greatest soap producer of all time too. So it's like, but no, hey, you're following a proven process.
Yeah,
you know, that's really cool.
What are you drinking, Lewis? I see you pouring a drink there. Yeah.
Double black label.
Lewis.
Black label, yeah. Keep it in the family. There you go.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, there's fraternities. You have families. That's kind of like underneath the umbrella of it. Yeah. Black label was a family back in the day in ours. So we had a drink for each family. Johnny Walker, Black label.
This is what really happened. This is the dirty details. We disbanded. Me and Oskar were in Black Label, and we disbanded to form the Void. And a lot of people got
butthurt. Ugly word,
that.
Disbanded. Ugly word.
Yeah. No. Well, no. I mean, that's kind of what happened. We created our own family,
Lucas
not thinking anything of it. But a lot of the guys are like they were kind of upset about it. But I'm glad that Black Label is still going. Or I don't know that at least it went down to you guys. But yeah.
Biggest family, I think, still.
Anything there? Yeah.
No, it's still
Void's still a thing or no?
Only original family.
Void's done, huh?
Probably.
You get too far removed. Unless you're in there, it's just you can't replicate the insanity.
Yeah. Also, we had a bunch of fuckers like in the Void, just savages. Like.
Yeah. If I went back and I met that person like myself, I would not want to be friends with that person. Like 5 years ago.
Yeah, a lot of people have also told me that if I were to ever meet myself, I'd probably hate myself.
No, dude, you're pretty calm. You're pretty mild mannered.
Yeah. I wouldn't say like, oh, Lucas is like the reckless one. You know, it's like he's the one that I gotta look out for, man. It's like,
no.
You're pretty smart. Yeah, but
I could take care of myself. Yeah.
You were, yeah. You handle your own, yeah, and that in itself already speaks miles.
Yeah.
But with your music, Lucas, to kind of bring it back to you, what do you want to accomplish with it? Like, where do you see yourself moving? You know.
Well, it's I kind of have the same, like, similar message that most artists have. It's just to be able to express the feeling that you're not alone, like, with your audience. Everybody's going through the same stuff. Just like thinking about, well, what the New World EP is about is basically trying to keep up with the challenges in life. Like, and it's going to happen to you every now and then where you miss out on a golden opportunity or something, and you just kind of can't get yourself down on it. My mom actually has this fascination for like really dark stories, and that's kind of where I got my musical approach when I make music. Usually my riffs are kind of like a little dark and everything like that, but the reason I do that is because I kind of realized, my mom probably thinks this too, is that there's a beauty in darkness that just kind of makes the lights shine brighter, and it's kind of the vibe that I try to get in the message in my music, is that you are able to kind of quantify where rock bottom can be and the bad moments in your life, and that kind of helps you better appreciate the higher moments in your life.
I really dig that. Wow, I like that. Wow, that's
yeah, like there wouldn't be happiness without pain. There wouldn't be sun without rain. All that. That's true.
Exactly.
You need that contrast. Unless everything's just neutral, it wouldn't work. Like lack of emotion. That's not.
It's important to me, especially in terms of sending messages. The reason why I do music is because I do generally want to send that message. That I don't like it when like our friends try to keep to themselves and stuff. So, like, it's okay to express your feelings and tell us what's happening in your life, what's down, because everybody's like kind of keeping that feeling inside, and everybody's kind of struggling to. So we just don't think it's like acceptable to be in a hole.
Yeah, I think that's a struggle with a lot of men.
Yeah, being able to communicate what sucks about your life and everything, it just makes you feel more about moving forward.
I feel like that gets, I don't know, you think about that more, I think, older you get. I feel like that type of thinking you didn't have, when you first came into college versus like, you go around the merry-go-round a couple times, and
freshman year, you're trying to be the tough guy on campus.
Yeah, you get a different perspective even after college, like a few years out. It just life's like not so. It's not different, I guess.
It becomes real. You have real responsibilities.
There's no more like ego. Like ego's not going to get you anywhere.
You can't avoid it, right? It's like he'll hit you back in the face if you try to avoid it, right? So
avoid. Did you hear that? Avoid. Avoid. Oh.
That's a very real thing, though. Like the ability to just feel, and to the ability to share that as a human being. Mm-hmm. Being men, I don't know. Like I grew up with like, dude, you got to toughen up. Like, I mean, suck it up, rub some dirt on it. It's like
in the streets of Colombia. I grew up in Bogota.
No, I didn't. But my dad did. Yeah,
I was born next to a brick.
Yeah, that's gnarly, man.
But you see that, like, you try to compare yourself to like your parents' lives if you're first generation or whatever generation you are. You try to compare yourself to the people you come from, and it's possible, man. It's like they had a very tough life in totally different ways. But life is also very different for us in a complete different way, right? Because we have a lot of privilege and we have to appreciate that, very much like your music. You're saying like, there's a lot of darkness that they've seen. And because of that, we have to appreciate the greatness that we've inherited because of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that doesn't take away from the stuff that is actually still happening. It's like, I mean, shit still sucks. Like stuff still like hurts.
Yeah.
It's
you can either complain about it or you can do something about it.
Especially now, man.
Yes.
Where a lot of people are stripped of like, literally stripped and mentally stripped of like the things they can go do to like, a lot of people go out drinking to block out their emotional issues. But now we're kind of all in our house forced to face our own issues. So
much worse.
that effect is having, so I mean, I think we can all agree that like, if we were to ever like recommend things to do to like get through a time like this is look to your creative outlets to help calm yourself, because that's the real thing. Creative outlets really take you away from whatever stresses that you may be doing in the current moment. Like I know for me, like when I started doing jiu-jitsu and like martial arts, totally was like, because there's so much to it, it's so complex, but it's also like an emotional thing. Like it's an art, you're expressing your art, how you move yourself. It's the same with music. Like you're literally expressing your emotions through sound and through your music. So it's like, I think that's everybody needs to try, at least really try to find something that that works for them that way, because that's like that fills, it's like a bag that fills up and you gotta release it.
Yeah.
Totally. To bring it back a little bit, Lukas, and speaking of creativity again, what do you want to do with this professionally? Yeah, it's like it. Yeah, professionally.
It's kind of what I said, is be able to spread my message and actually have an effect on people. It's one of the things I look up to Kevin Parker from Tame Impala about. Is he's heavily introverted. If you look at his past, I consider myself an introvert. That's why I kind of look up to him a lot. He's a really quiet person, keeps himself, and the fact that he's been able to make such a big impact on the world with his music is just incredible to me. That's something I want to do with my music. Is if you listen to his first album, Inner Speakers, he just talks about this solitude that no one ever really talks about in music. Because everyone's trying to, in rap music, everyone's talking about how they make money and, have fun all day, every day. It's not how life actually is for most of us. The fact that Kevin Parker was able to embrace that and say that just be able to connect with the people who feel like they're in solitude, whether it's how they actually feel or they're just introverted. So that's kind of the message I want to spread out.
I feel you. But
behind a legacy.
Say no to drugs.
I know the drugs.
It's funny that you talk about like the hip hop, saying that like people are all like about just about money and shit. It's so funny. Like I heard this somewhere. It's like rappers in their lyrics all the time, like nobody fuck with me when I was broke, and then at the same song they're like, I don't fuck with broke like bitches. It's like, what the fuck? Like that's so stupid. That's anything of that.
Like, a lot of SoundCloud rappers like talking about how they have money, they just don't. That's just the topic that they keep rapping about, I guess.
Or it's like you get hated on for leaving the ghetto. Like they think you're like a bitch.
You want to stay there?
Yeah, like,
move there? Why don't you move there? You can take my bed.
Yeah. Isn't that what happened to Nipsey also? He wasn't really appreciated as on community because he made it out, right?
Yeah.
I do think we need more conscious music in all genres. Just
that's the goal.
Yes. to go into our normal show kind of a flow, before I go into it, Lukas, is there anything else that you wanted to tell us just about the future of LTA, what you have upcoming after the fact?
So currently, the current main project I'm working on is, I'm always making song after song, just kind of laying them down and having them for records and getting back to them when I can. But basically, the next plan is to be able to put on like a show. I want to be able to play live with Brooke and Andrew at any small club and everything. So with that, I've been actually working on stage lighting. I got my own LED lights and everything, and I got a software program that's able to kind of snap all these lights to go with the music and everything like that. So that's what I've been working on. I've been basically writing the light show. My first plan, though, is obviously with this quarantine, it kind of screwed up our plans of playing live, which sucks. But I want to be able to at least play like a 20-minute live instrumental set without them first, to just, be able to make sure the lights work and everything like that, and kind of put my name out there in terms of what I can do, and be able to sell that to clubs and everything. Because if you go to any club where they have like 4 or 5 small artists playing back to back on any given night, they're all using the same like standard stage equipment that the club provides, and just like it doesn't really have an effect on me when I'm hearing these people trying to make a name for themselves. I'm not feeling their music because all they have is like one blue light shining down that the club has. So basically, my plan is to be able to offer that to clubs. I could bring my own lights and put on an incredible show with my lights, with my music, without having to use your stage equipment that won't capture a feeling for people.
Yeah, would you say that's part of like your uniqueness, what you're going to bring to the table for your artistry?
Exactly.
It's very cool. Yeah, no, speaking of that, like I've seen you record in your room before where you kind of like loop. You record riffs and you loop over it. Like I think it'd be really cool if you did one of those. I know we have all these like DJs that are playing live sets online and doing stuff like that. So I think there's definitely a way to reach the masses.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that actually, maybe an Instagram live video with a 20-minute set. Because in our living room right now, I have my stage lights set up basically how I would want them if I were to play in there. so I could be able to put on that kind of live set. And I could, basically what you said is I could have my instrumentals playing in the background. I just play along.
Yeah, it's solo over it, and yeah.
Kind of depends on what, yeah.
Can you play for like an hour or so? You think you could?
I could, but the way the world works now, the attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, man. That's why I've released a 4-song EP rather than an 8-song LP. You know,
yeah.
Just, there's only so much people can take, as if they're gonna lose it halfway through the album, then why should I release an entire album? So
also, people are getting famous from like singles, like one song, like, you know, that's all it takes.
I know one artist who told me that his plan. I had a session with him in January. He was actually my engineer for this project, and he basically told me that he was planning on releasing just one single per month all year for 2020. Obviously, those plans went to shit because of quarantine, but it's a solid plan. It's a solid marketing plan. It's how the world works now, unfortunately. But back in the day, how Led Zeppelin didn't want to release any singles, those days are gone, unfortunately. But yeah.
That gets my gears turning right now, because I'm trying to do something where we could host like a live stream event, kind of like a marketing kind of series where we promote our channel one, but then we also try to raise some money for relief towards COVID and everything like that. And we have a bunch of friends from musicians, much like yourself, and that's why I asked if you could play for an hour. But you mentioned that, like, man,
I play for 20 minutes. That's what I was going to get to, guys. Like, basically, the way I'm putting it together right now, I have it in mind that I would be playing for 20 minutes. So how long will somebody be actually sitting there on their phone watching the whole set? I think 20 minutes is quite enough.
You're pretty much saying just like do it for 30 minutes each. Each set is 30 minutes. You do it for 4 hours instead of 12 hours, and you kind of.
I know you can get a lot of people like him play a set, like a whole show.
That's how small clubs do it. That's what they do. They have 4 or 5 artists lined up doing 20 minutes at a time. Yeah,
essentially, you do it differently than, like, everyone's going to do it like a festival style right now, as far as like the online streams, where it's like everyone's doing an hour each, an hour and 30 minutes each. But you're right, people lose interest, and you're like, I'll do other stuff while this is playing.
Well, because like there's a different adrenaline when you go to a concert versus when you go, watch it on TV. Like, I can watch it, like, I can just download the music and listen to it, versus like, why do I want to listen to it live? It's like the whole feeling is different. Equipment, you're listening, like.
It's about knowing your place too. Like, I know I'm not Travis Scott. I know for a fact that I can't pay attention for 2 hours. So I know where I'm at right now. I'm at the bottom of the pyramid so far. About 20 minutes is quite enough in terms of catching people's interest and getting my point across. I don't need to play more.
It's a completely new vertical that's coming about because of coronavirus, but that's a new way of thinking about it, Lucas. Yeah, that's the first time I've heard someone say something like that, and that's making me make my gears turn. But speaking of gears turning, let's get into our normal workflow of our questions. Yeah. So our first question comes from 2 articles here. Orange County. I live in San Francisco right now, or Daly City, if you guys know the Bay Area, the gateway to the peninsula of San Francisco. But Orange County, where I'm originally from, is opening up, and they are saying that they should open up beaches and they should open up places of recreation. Yet, second article that I have attached to it, again, all these are in the description, was the 1918 second wave of the Spanish flu, which references things of the virus coming back after quarantining in place and coming back into recreational places specifically. So my question is this for you all. How important is history to you? Does history repeat itself, or are we always forward moving?
I thought you said, are we doomed to repeat our mistakes?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, that's history repeating itself, right? Or is it? But go answer it off the top of your head, since.
Damn, dude, that's a hard question.
Easily, because what I heard is pretty comparable to SARS from what I've read about, and they said it's not seasonal, and everybody's sitting here assuming that coronavirus is seasonal, that it's going to go away when the hot weather comes along. And from what I've read from the experts is that it's just like SARS, where it's going to last quite a while, where like we can't really make any further major decisions until we know what the vaccines that we're working on actually do. And we're only going to know the final results like mid-2021. So we need to be able to listen to the government right now. Like Nolan actually mentioned that in episode 1. So everybody has to just be able to listen to the decisions from the top right now.
The one thing that second article that I mentioned in San Francisco that references the 1918 Spanish flu, they said that San Francisco specifically was great at jumping on top of it, much like they are right now about COVID-19. But once they started lifting, they were also one of the first to kind of come back and open up stages, open up clubs and things like that. They just opened everything up essentially. And then after that, that's when they got hit really hard, just to kind of add more context to it. So that's what's kind of happening right now, or it looks like it's kind of happening in Orange County, even though they didn't really have that extreme shutdown per se. I don't know, like, do you think that's going to happen again? Like,
yes.
Like, is that what's going to? Are we just
going to be a second wave?
Yeah, people are growing frustrated right now.
For sure, there's going to be a second wave. I mean, it's usually how it works with most, I think, type of like virus, to where you build some sort of herd immunity, and then slowly people go out, and then you start to get infected, and then you build immunity over time from like just basically refining that over and over. So, go ahead.
Like Corey mentioned the other day, like episode 7, he mentioned that our worry isn't necessarily like coronavirus infecting people. Everyone will be infected. It's more so the infrastructure that we have in place to take care of those people who are sick, right? Like very much like Italy. If you don't have enough beds, you have to pick and choose who gets to live and who doesn't, right? Does Orange County have the infrastructure to say kind of like, F it, and we could just say, let people out and we could handle it as it comes in? Is it something like that?
It's, I think, kind of going back to what I mentioned, Nolan saying in episode 1, decisions coming from the top. We can't have these counties making these decisions for themselves. Like Orange County, they can't close their borders and develop that herd immunity that they mentioned in that article. They can't do that. So why are you trying to open up this? If they open up their beaches, I believe somebody mentioned that in the article. If you open up the beaches, people from San Diego or LA are all going to go to that beach. So it's going to create chaos again.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point.
What about you, Nolan? What do you think? Do you think that history repeats itself?
Well, I think it's hard to say. So I think that this is different. This, just in terms of the way it's spreading, the fact that, a lot of different aspects of this particular virus, like when people compare it to SARS, to H1N1, I don't know if that's the same thing or not, swine flu, like this is different, right? This has been harder to contain. So I'm piggybacking off what Lucas said. I don't think you can really start to treat the symptoms when you don't know the cause. It's like we haven't even figured out how to handle this, let alone how we're going to plan for the future. But it's like we already had that 1918. Like we've already had several of these happen that killed millions of people, right? So why are we not prepared for this? Like we should have been prepared. Like how many more times is this going to have to happen for us to finally prepare? I think this really exposed the fact that America, compared to a lot of other countries, just was not prepared for this. And like we said, like other countries, they already kind of practice social distancing. They already wear masks. They already do this. So, but on the other hand, this is kind of a different animal. So I don't know if even if we had planned, just the way that it's spreading, it would have had a tremendous impact. So that's really hard to answer in terms of this, but I do think that this one is different. So there will be permanent measures in place, or at least in the indefinite future, as a way to like manage this, so to speak, in society. Like this is the wake up call. Like this is going to have lasting effects, 1, 5, 10 years. So I think with this one, hopefully we will put better social practices in place, but ultimately think this is going to be the one that saves us. Yeah, before shaking said no, because like I said, we've gone through this before, and look where we are again.
Yeah, I mean that was 100 years ago, and I think that's why Bibhor shaking his head. I don't know. I agree with you, Nolan. I think like this should be a wake up call. But how common is it? Right? It's like if it like, do you prepare for a volcano? Like what do you do when a volcano erupts? I don't know. Like if a volcano were to erupt like right now.
I think it's all about like
apparently jerk off. You see those people in Pompeii that were like when the volcano like basically preserved them, they were jerking off and shit.
No, they were terrible, man.
Last thing they did.
Like, fuck it, we're gonna die. Just jerk off.
I don't know. How does that happen? Like, how do you don't just the lava will just melt you. You're not gonna freeze.
No, it preserves you.
No, it doesn't.
Apparently it does.
No, it did. It did.
Have you ever been melted by lava? They have.
I think it was the ash. I don't think there was the lava.
Yeah,
it was like
the ash. Really high.
Okay.
Yeah, like formed carbon. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
Now we're bringing science into this. I like this.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't be speaking on that.
So, Lucas, since we have you here, this leads me to my next question. Since you're going to be a famous rock star someday, does the office make the person, or does the person make the office? / does the title of a rock star make the person, or do you make the rock star? And I'm asking this question because Kim Jong Un might be dead.
That's fucking. Oh shit! Oh, hats off on that question.
I don't know. I think it's a little different with music. I think.
For sure, hopefully, yes. You're not a Korean
in terms of like fraternity present, where you have to be able to kind of have those hard-headed decisions and actually show your leadership, and that will make your active body kind of buy into what your beliefs are and everything like that. But in terms of being a rock star, it's I think the office makes the rock star. It's the fans that believe in what I say and actually buy into what I say, and they are the ones that decide if I get to be famous or not.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think part of it is personality. Like, if you believe you're a rock star, like I know a bunch of people that they're not rock stars, but they think they are, and that persona carries on forward.
It does, yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that's really huge. It's kind of what I would say is one of my weaknesses. Like, I'm not delusional enough. I don't believe, like, I'm not sitting here thinking
crazy,
right? At top of the charts one day, and maybe I should be thinking that in order to kind of make bigger steps and make, I don't know.
This is the beginning. This is day one. Then we're shooting for you're shooting for the moon, but you're gonna land amongst the stars if you don't hit it. Yeah,
exactly.
As they say.
I mean, I think you can be quote unquote crazy driven in other aspects besides like your ego. I think your work ethic can be crazy. Like I think there's a lot of truth to that statement. You have to be psychotic about what you do to be good at it.
Exactly.
It's like if you want to be a boxer, but it's just a hobby, you're gonna go get knocked the fuck out. Like there's guys that fucking I live this shit. So it's like I think you just have to have some aspect of what you do like that will kind of carry you. But yeah, I mean, obviously with music, because it's you're putting yourself out there, like you're selling your own brand. I think you can't just be really like, I mean, there's a lot of musicians that are introverted.
You have to be humble in the beginning, I think. You just have to be like in any sport, I feel like in general, like you have to be humble in the beginning. Even look at Conor McGregor, he was a nice guy when he first came in.
Yeah, he was.
And then now he's punching like old people in the bar, so like, and once you become someone, just like
that's the money, dude.
Yeah,
the clout, dude. The clout.
You can't be firing shots at people if you don't have an army behind you. That's why everybody's humble and get that army. Then you fire shots.
That's what I'm asking. Like, so do you think like once you're a rock star, like you're a different person, or do you make like being a rock star a different meaning? Right? It's like
everybody hopes they don't change.
No, they all change. Everyone changes.
Yeah.
It's kind of the bullshit.
There's a great song by Joyner Lucas. You know who Joyner Lucas is, a rapper? He's made this song called Will by Will Smith. He was dropping an album. His opening song is called I Lied. And it's like, I let the money change me, I lied. And it basically says like, I said all this shit that I wouldn't let, this go to my head. I said I wouldn't like pretend I didn't know anyone anymore. But then he said, no, fuck it. Once I got that shit, I want to buy Benzes and shit. He said, fuck it. I thought it was kind of funny. I'm pretty sure it was a kind of a parody. But like if you're conscious enough to say that, then you really didn't. But I think that's kind of a neat perspective. But yeah, I agree with Bibhor. Like you have to kind of like the humble beginnings. You can't act like. I think with that attitude, you get lazy a little bit, right? Like the humbleness helps you kind of get to where you need to be. So you can't really get there without it.
Puts you on a lower pedestal and makes you.
Yeah, you can't come in thinking you're the shit because then people are gonna be like, "What?"
But you can also kind of be seen as a pushover, no? Like you have to have a little bit of, well, put your stuff on the table and like, mine's this big essentially, a little bit.
What's big?
Mine's tiny. I don't know, man, but a little bit of that to get yourself to the next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you could easily come off as a pushover. Like if I'm not marketing my music enough or something like that, then people could easily just be sitting there thinking, "Oh, he barely even tried and nothing happened." And here
well, when you make it, bro, you can say, you did your first podcast here at the Void Experience.
No way. This is where it all started right here. First interview ever.
Don't forget the little guys, man. Don't forget the little guys.
No, you guys want to be famous first, man. Then you guys got to bring me up.
Well, I mean, is JR okay? So Joe Rogan, that's where like we model a lot of our, we don't try to copy him, but I mean, we use him as a framework and like what success is. But like, what made him famous? Is it what made the podcast famous? Was it the guests or was it him?
It's episodes,
him,
bro.
He was on
so Factor. He can hang with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he can hang with everybody in every subject he brings on.
He just like produced like stuff, man. Hats off to that guy. Like,
yeah, his ability to just kind of be open-minded with everybody. That's make his podcast explode because he has Republicans and Democrats on the show. Far left, far right, everybody just hears him out. That's what's good about his podcast.
I agree. Yeah, he's a good interviewer. Yeah. What gave him the initial clout, though, I think, was
Fear Factor, UFC.
Yeah, we're starting from fuck nowhere.
Yeah, who are we? Well, Louis, thank you for joining us.
Lucas, you son of a bitch. Lucas.
Our friend Louis, who should be on right now. That's why he's in.
I said Louis?
You said call him Louis a few times. That's close. That's close.
No, my bad.
Hey, what's your Instagram?
Just to get plugged, Elysian, 8%, 9% beers. You'll start calling people by other names.
Oh, man.
Hey, before we go though, Lucas, if you have a YouTube channel, if you have a Instagram, just say it out, and we'll tag it too.
We'll link it.
My Instagram is LukasAblingis13. I just posted at the bottom, and there's my music. You can find it Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, even TikTok. So literally anywhere.
It's on TikTok.
That's just out. Thank you, Lucas. I was about to say Lucas again. Thank you, Lucas, again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Please subscribe, follow us, and join us for episode 9 next week.
Peace.
Later, guys.